What is up, guys? I'm the Senator, and today I'm bringing you 50 tips designed to help players who are brand new to Rainbow Six Siege. Now, if you're an intermediate or an advanced player, there still is some things in this video for you. However, I'm focusing on mainly trying to help those players who are brand new and are trying to improve as quickly as they possibly can. And if you do go on to enjoy the video, maybe hit the like button and consider subscribing for more content. But anyways, starting off with the number one, do not waste your drone, especially if you are a Twitch. Often I see players who are new to the game, they have their drone spawn in and immediately they take their drone into the building during the threat phase, jump around, and get their drone shot. Now, the more and more you play Siege, the more and more you really start to realize how important drones are in this game. So, the best thing to do is just pick up your drone at the spawn, then take it in so you can ensure that you have 2 drones for the match. Number 2 is to not put a laser sight on every weapon. Often I see new players who put a laser sight on every weapon, every rifle, because they think it's going to help them. Now, there are some benefits to the laser sight. The laser sight helps you with your hip fire accuracy. So the only weapons you should really consider putting a laser sight on would be weapons like shotguns or pistols that you may have to fire from the hip. Other than that, just stay away from them. Number 3, use whatever optic is most comfortable for you. Do not run a sight just because you see others using it or because you saw a pro player using it. The best thing for you to do, especially as a new player, is just become comfortable with the game and run whatever sight you are most comfortable with. Number 4, do not reinforce walls or hatches too late into the round. Now, each person has their own idea or concept as what too late into the round is, but for me, I have the general rule of not reinforcing past the 2-minute 45-second mark in the round. Any later than that, it's very possible that the attackers are already making their way into the building or they may be on the rappel. Number 5, muzzle attachments can be very, very confusing, and I have an entire video dedicated to muzzle attachments and what you should be running on each weapon, so you can check that video after this one. But a good rule of thumb, if you just don't know what muzzle attachment you should be running, is that a flash hider is generally the best all-around attachment. Now, there are weapons that benefit more for certain attachments than others, but generally, if you don't understand them really and you haven't really looked into it, just go with the flash hider. Number 6, if you're having trouble learning the callouts and you die and you're not really sure what the callout is, use the compass that's on the bottom of your map. While a specific callout is always great, if you don't know it, it's better that you say, northeast side of the second floor than not trying to give us any information at all. So pay attention to the compass as well as the room name that also shows up at the bottom of your screen. Number 7 is do not red ping. When you red ping, the enemy knows that they are being watched and that they're on camera, and they're likely to find the camera. Now that we have the soft yellow ping, there's really no reason for you to ever use the red ping ever again. Number 8, if you're playing Ella, pocket one of your Grismont mines. So instead of using all 3 around the site, use 2 and keep the other one for your roam later in the round. You can then use it as a concussion grenade or set it up to where you can watch one angle on a doorway and then throw your Grismont on another doorway so that you can't be flanked while you're holding your angle. Number 9, always try your best to let your teammates know where you died from. If you don't know the callout, name off the objects that are nearby or use that compass that I told you about or the room name that's at the bottom of your screen. Also, whenever you're giving a callout like that, tell your teammates who killed you and what their health is at. Number 10, whenever you're playing Mozzie, do not use your pests until after the prep phase. And the reason being is you need to be using Mozzie as a way to deny drones rather than to capture drones that you can use for cameras. And the reason you should do this is because it helps get rid of as many drones as possible. If you capture drones in the prep phase with your pests, then the rest of the drones that are going to come into the site will have to be shot. Whereas if you shoot them early enough and you get the drone count down to 5, if you shoot all 5 in the prep phase, and then you put your pests out and you capture 3 later, then there's only 2 drones left. So it's better to just shoot as many as possible and then set your pests up for later in the round for the rest of the drones. Number 11 is Kaid claws can actually electrify through objects. So you can electrify a wall by going underneath and throwing your claw on the ceiling and getting the wall electrified from underneath. This makes it very difficult for Twitch as well as Kali to get rid of the claw. Number 12, bandit tricking is great for getting attackers to waste their utility. However, it can be very hard to accomplish, especially for newer players. So if you're someone who's not going to bandit trick, you're way better off picking Mute, who can both deny hard breachers as well as deny intel gadgets like drones. Number 13, a lot of new players panic whenever they see a Clash and they want a banner. Clash isn't that difficult to deal with. The only time she can be a real nuisance is if you're in a 2v1 and they have a Clash. So, whenever you encounter a Clash, just remember to knife the shield and shoot the feet. Knife the shield and shoot the feet, and eventually you will get her unless she's a god tier Clash, which most people who play Clash are not. Number 14, if you're using Nomad, nothing is worse than shooting an air jab only for an ADS to destroy it. So carry flashbangs with you to burn out the ADS before wasting an air jab. Number 15, Siege has a one headshot kill mechanic, so typically it's better to bring a faster firing weapon than a weapon that is slower. The more bullets you can put down range in a short amount of time will allow you to get a headshot much quicker. Number 16, always drone out. If you have 2 drones, make sure you use them. Number 17, always spawn with a buddy. Never go in lone wolf. You always want there to be a teammate with you, so in case you die or he dies, someone is there to get the refrag. Number 18, if you have the defuser, always stay with a buddy. It's better to stay with a buddy than it is for you to take the defuser and die on the other side of the map, where they have to go across the map to get it and then go to the bomb site. Number 19, this is probably my biggest tip that I can give you if you're someone who wants to improve as quickly as possible, and that is to go play Terrorist Hunt, Training Ground missions as often as you possibly can. Now, this is something that very few players want to go do because, frankly, it can be very, very boring, but it's very, very rare that a player can get above a gold rank without consistently practicing in T-hunts. Number 20, if you decide to play Frost, make sure to double up on your mats and put 2 mats under one window. The reason being is that at this point in the game, most people know to already pre-fire whenever they jump into the window in case there's a Frost, and they already do that if they know there's a Frost on the board. So if you put 2 mats underneath the window, that improves your chances of them actually getting caught in the Frost mat. Number 21, since Rainbow Six Siege has a one headshot kill mechanic and it is extremely rare that you will ever run out of ammo, if you think someone's around the corner, always pre-fire. It's much better to pre-fire and have them not be there than for you to not pre-fire and then get domed. Number 22, if your team hasn't picked a hard breacher, be the hard breacher. So make sure your team always has either a Maverick, Thermite, Hibana, or Ace in your team composition. Number 23, be very careful about droning on rappel. If you're going to drone on rappel, make sure you either have a Claymore, an air jab, some track stingers, or a teammate watching before you decide to drone. Otherwise, you make a very easy target. Number 24, this is something that I see a lot, and that is new players not putting Kapkan traps at ankle level. If you put them at head level, the attackers are more likely to see it, so always put Kapkan traps at the ankle level. Number 25, always be open to criticism. Now, sometimes that may come in a toxic form, but regardless, you acknowledging that you could always do something better and continuously trying to improve on that will make you a better player. Number 25, if you're playing Mozzie, you don't need to put all of your pests on site necessarily. If you have someone who's roaming in a particular area of the map, put a few pests down there to help them so they don't get droned out. Number 27, if you're playing at a defender who has a deployable shield available in their loadout, bring it. It's probably the most useful secondary gadget in this game, and your anchors could always use one. Number 28, very similar to the tip I gave earlier about Ella, if you're playing Alibi, it's also a good idea to pocket one of your Prismas. Putting your Prisma in a location where you previously were is a good way to trick the enemy. Number 29, Ying's Candelas will always roll in a straight line. However, they are also able to be shot. Number 30, I made an entire video about this one, but don't be scared of Kavera. Her ability can be countered just by droning her out and spawning with a buddy. Number 31, I know this sounds like common sense and I've said something similar to this before, but if you're playing an Amaru, always drone out before you enter the building. Have an idea of what it's going to look like whenever you enter, that way you can pre-fire exactly wherever you need to pre-fire. Number 32, make sure to leave flank drones behind. If you don't have a Claymore or you didn't bring a Nomad, using a flank drone for your dead teammates to watch to warn you that you're being flanked can come in handy. Number 33, if you're playing Lion, Dokkaebi, or Finka, always let your teammates know whenever you're going to use your ability, because it can be very annoying if you're an attacker and Lion does his scan while you're on your drone and you could be using that scan to your advantage. Number 34, I made a video about this and it's really, really simple, and it's amazing how many of us do not do this. This is something I still struggle with, but always aim at head level. It's so much easier to get a kill if you're aiming at head level. Number 35, whenever you die, ask yourself what you could have done to prevent it. Take each death as a learning experience. The earlier you'll do this whenever you start playing, the faster you will improve. Number 36, whenever you are dead, always be looking at cams. I have died many times because my teammates were not watching cameras while they were dead, and I've helped a ton of my teammates because I was watching cameras whenever I was dead. So always be aware that, hey, when you're dead, you need to be looking at cameras. Number 37, IQ does not only detect operator gadgets like goo mines or Vigil whenever he's using his ability, but can also see whenever defenders are on their phones, as well as whenever a defender is defusing. Number 38, this is something that I always bring up whenever I talk about Vigil because it amazes me how many people do not know this, but Vigil's ability actually counters Lion's scan. So whenever his drone goes off, you can activate your ability as Vigil and push the enemy. Number 39, this is a tip that everyone needs to hear because so many people forget this, and that is KD is irrelevant in Rainbow Six Siege. The team with the most kills or the people with the highest KD do not win. This is a game that relies on you going in and defusing a bomb. And so your ability to win is based on your ability to work together as a cohesive unit, not your ability to go in and get as many kills as possible. Number 40, whenever you're defending, make sure to shoot out the glass on the windows. And the reason you need to be doing this is because it makes it so much easier for you to hear attackers whenever they get on the rappel. Number 41, as a defender, you should always be aware of how many people are on and off site. There should typically be 2 to 3 people on site at all times, depending on the site. Number 42, there is very little reasoning for you to not be aiming down sights. The only thing that I can really think of is if you're quick peeking to get a wider field of view. Other than that, you need to be aiming down sights and aiming at head level, waiting for someone to peek you. Number 43, if you want to improve at this game as quickly as possible, try recording your gameplay and going back and watching it. You're going to pick up on a lot of things that you did not notice while you were playing it. Number 44, what makes Siege so unique is the destructibility of the map, and often new players do not use this to their advantage. Use this to your advantage by playing vertically, by either going above or going below the bomb site. And don't forget that you can use, soft breachers like Ash, Sophia, Buck, and even Sledge to play vertically and get easy kills from either above or below. Number 45 is to be patient. New players either have a problem with being too patient or being overly aggressive. Most of the time I think they're overly aggressive and do not take the time and go through the steps, like for instance droning out. A lot of new players and players at lower ranks do not drone out because they're not patient. They want to go ahead and get into sight and start dropping bodies. There are procedures that you're going to follow. That you're going to be droning, you're going to be roam clearing, you're going to be flank watching. You're going to be getting rid of utility. There are steps to the game, steps to, getting a plant down successfully. So, be aware of the time, but more importantly, if you're a new player, try to be patient because I know you're excited. I know you want to go in and get as many kills as you possibly can. But again, this isn't Call of Duty. Number 46, do not get greedy. If you find yourself in a 5v2 scenario or a 4v2 or 4v1, anything like that where your team has a major advantage, do not get greedy, do not act stupid, do not feed the other team, do not rush in trying to get the kill before anyone else does. This leads it to eventually get into a 2v2 scenario or a 2v1 scenario that you can easily lose. Number 47, this is something that I sometimes struggle with, and it's something that you always need to be paying attention to, and that's to always try to be aware of your positioning. Make sure you're set up in a position where if you were to be swung on by an attacker or defender, that you can easily find cover and you wouldn't die immediately. Number 48, if you're someone who plays Rainbow Six Siege on PC, typically the lower your graphics settings are, the better. Now there are instances where the lower your graphics settings are in terms of like the textures, some textures can blend in, but generally the lower and especially whenever it comes to shadows, you want your shadows to be as low as possible. Number 49, be aware that it only takes 4 of Hibana's X-Kairos to open a hatch. Since her rework where they changed her gadget to either shoot 2, 4, or 6 X-Kairo pellets, they now changed it to where it only takes 8 to open up a hatch. So you don't have to use 6 every time. If you use 6, then you're just wasting X-Kairos. And number 50, since you guys made it to the end of the video, I'm going to give you probably the most important tip that I can give a new player, and that is to not get discouraged. It takes a long time to get used to this game. It takes a long time to learn the maps and the callouts, and eventually you'll get there if you just keep on playing. Just have fun in the process. And so that is it. That is 50 tips designed to help players who are brand new to Rainbow Six Siege. I really enjoyed making this video, and so if you'd like to see more videos like this, let me know down below in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit the like button because that actually helps me out a lot with the YouTube algorithm, and consider subscribing if you are into my content and want to see more. Thank you guys for sticking around to the end of the video. I'm the Senator, and as always, have a good one.